Greetings and welcome to A Prayerful Pause. I'm Nancy Woodworth-Hill, a spiritual director and companion. Today we continue my series on forgiveness. So this is the 10th and final segment in a series on forgiveness, but I will be following it by two of the practices that I referenced. We'll be looking at the second of two procedures for gaining the inner freedom that forgiveness brings. Both are the work of the Reverend Dr. Rob Foyle, to whom I am greatly appreciative for his ministry and mentorship. I've actually witnessed Rob engaging these procedures for which the individual does not need to name aloud the harm done, and decades of resentment and hurt have been consigned to the past, allowing the inner freedom in the present moment and into the future. It is, as this is the 10th segment, the first 8 contain information that's the basis for this procedure. You may find these videos on both Lawrenceville Parish Church's Facebook page and YouTube site. I would encourage you to view them if possible because they provide valuable information about forgiveness. Please note that this process is independent from the person being forgiven. It's unnecessary to involve this person, and it's possible that further injury may occur in a conversation with this person. So you're invited to engage this procedure as I speak it slowly. And if I'm going too fast, do use the pause function and return when you are ready. Also, if you happen to be leading a person through this process, you do not need to know who is being forgiven or what was done. So the first step, establish a loving foundation for forgiving. Take a moment. And remember yourself in the midst of unconditional love. There is nothing you have done or will do, nor anything anyone has done or will do to you that can separate you from God's unconditional love. Rest for a moment in this love, and from this foundation of love, proceed with the following steps. So, identify the current demand in your resentment. You can recollect what happened that led to your resentment. Play the story over in your mind without dwelling on any aspect in particular. As you do so, identify the demand that you have today about what a person should or should not have done in the past. Next, we're going to transform this demand into a preference. What would you have preferred to have had happen? Also, what can you learn from this event? What would you prefer to do in the future if you're confronted with a similar situation? Do you want to keep that preference in the future? Does your preference represent a value that you want to keep? Next, seek and satisfy objections to forgiving. Does any part of you, any part at all, object to setting the person free from your preference and surrendering them into unconditional love to take responsibility for their life, free from your demands and manipulation? Take time to satisfy any objections. And remember, they're usually about safety and justice. Then In your imagination, release the person from your demand. So and so, use their name. I would have preferred that you would have, or wouldn't have, right? Fill in the blank. And now I release you from my demand that in the past you would have, or shouldn't have. Fill in the blank. I'll say that again. Address the person, use their name in your imagination. I would have preferred that you would have. And now I release you from my demand that in the past you would have, or shouldn't have. Now, imagine yourself in the future, seeking situations where you can live out your values as preferences. Now we're going to extend unconditional love. Return to your awareness of this love. Allow it to surround you and uphold you. Be aware that this unconditional love extends out to and also surrounds the person you have forgiven them. Wish them well, without defining what that well should be. And return to your awareness of unconditional love and see it flowing out into your future. Now we need to assess the outcome. Recall the person and see if you can feel the resentment you began with. If so, check for additional objections and satisfy them. And we repeat the past few steps, which are to seek and satisfy the objections, to release the person from your demand, and to extend unconditional love to them and to yourself. Now see if you can feel that resentment that you began with, right? And then go back to those steps. If you continue to feel the resentment, use the process offered in I think it's the 7th segment of this series. This is critical. Every single part of you needs to be able to enter into that release. And also you may check to see if the resentment is grief. I spoke about that recently. So now I invite you to place yourself again in an ocean or meadow or some place that fits you, that has God's love in it. Let us conclude this series with a prayer. It'll give us much food for thought. This prayer was written on a piece of wrapping paper found near the body of a dead child in Ravensbrück, where 92,000 women and children died in the Holocaust. O Lord, remember not only the men and women of goodwill, but also those of evil will. But do not remember all the suffering they have inflicted upon us. Remember the fruits we have borne, thanks to this suffering. Our comradeship, our loyalty, our humility, our courage, our generosity, the greatness of heart which has grown out of all this. And when they come to judgment, let all the fruits that we have borne be their forgiveness. Amen. And this concludes my series on forgiveness.